Throughout your life, you have jumped over many, many hurdles. I read that you were hit and dragged by a car when you were just a little boy. You fell when you're running with a pencil, goes right in your eye. You still have your sight. You have, you're a father. You have children. Your son has, if I remember right, spinal meningitis. Horrible. You almost lost him.
Yeah, correct.
And then comes, what was it, December 5th, 1985. And we should say at that point, you're not a wealthy man. You're not out to make, you're not a wealthy man today.
No.
Assuming. All right. You're a construction worker. You were the foreman on a job at a hospital.
Correct.
All right. This is what people want to hear. The story of what I think will shock, in every sense of the word, the audience. Tell us what happened.
Well, I was working in the New England Medical Center, which is now called Tufts Medical, working in a crawl space. Now, what I was working on was a walk-in refrigerator. Most of you see them in meat markets and laboratories and things like this. So on my right hip, I was laying, my two arms extended out completely, covering pipe. I could see the pipe that I had to work on. Now, as a foreman, I shouldn't have been up there. But the reason is I had a heavy-set young man who was an apprentice that was learning the material for the first time. And I said, look, I'll get in this crawl space, we'll work together. That way you'll know how to work with this type of material. And that's how we did it. Further down the corridor, our electrician was working the way you were looking at me, the opposite direction to what I was coming at. He's pulling his wires to aluminum conduit pipe. He brings them down, he twisted them at the end, and they're supposed to put caps on the end of them. So if you took a switch off, any of those facings off any switch, you'd see a yellow, a blue, or a green, or black, white, yellow cap on the wires. See? Well, if I extended my hand out like this on my hip, I couldn't see my hand. So I couldn't see anything down there. Okay. But I could see the piping in the corridor to work on, working together. We finished the job, came back the next day. The electrician did not come back. What the electrician didn't do is put the caps on the wire. So me with my motion off my hip extending like this, I rammed right into the entire electrical from the New England Medical Center.
Theoretically, and just to repeat, you were hit with enough electricity to power the entire hospital.
Yep.
And here you are to talk about it.
That's correct.
Do you remember that moment?
The only thing I remember, I said, what's alive? And I don't remember ever saying another thing after that until I was in the hospital.
So somehow they were able to get you, which is probably a miracle in itself that nobody else
how they got me out of the crawl space, that was something it was kind of amazing to me later on when I look at it, but they even got a stretcher in there. But eventually they got me off of there.
They get you to the hospital. You say you were electrocuted, which implies that you died. And it's interesting, when I read, you came to, and the doctor told you what? They had
a young man there with a death certificate, and they told him he should die any minute. And what people don't know, a dead body every now and then will shake because there's a little electricity in it, or it'll just pop up, something you might have seen in a scientific movie or something. And that's what I did. They put me up and they brought me in that room, and I popped up. And the guy said, pushed me down, went to sign my death certificate, and I said I had to go to the bathroom. And he was out the door. He was out the door.
I guess so.
And he could say his name and looked in. He said, what'd you say? I said, I have to go to the bathroom. And he said, don't go anywhere, I'll be right back.